Now, this is what Gluckman and Skegg said about the Chinese studies. All of this, by the way, is so important to understand because it was these kind of arguments which they have been using for over 20 years now to keep scientists and public health people away from all the studies that we've been revealing on our webpage, on our database. Okay, Gluckman and Skegg say, recently there have been a number of reports from China and other areas that have claimed an association between high water fluoride levels and minimally reduced intelligence, measured as IQ in children. They go on. The claimed shift of less than 1 IQ point suggests that this is likely to be a measurement or statistical artifact of no functional significance. Ding, 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 ding. Less than 1 IQ point? No, it wasn't less than 1 IQ point. It was less than, there was 7 IQ points in these studies that he's referring to. So Gluckman and Skegg were incorrect. What they've done is to confuse a drop of half a standard deviation, and half a standard deviation is 7 IQ points, with half an IQ point. So they thought that the loss was only half an IQ point, and they were wrong. And in 2014, they should have cleared up this. I mean, we knew early on that the promoters were using this confusion to say there was no problem, but surely by 2014, Gluckman and Skegg could have sorted this out. Anyway, they produced a corrected version. When FAN New Zealand pointed out this terrible mistake, they made a change. And this is what they did in the corrected version. They said the claimed shift of less than 1 standard deviation suggests that this is likely to be a measurement or statistical artifact of no functional significance. Now, there's 2 terrible things wrong with this. Number one, very few people in New Zealand, I think, and most countries, would know what a standard deviation is for an IQ curve. They wouldn't know that what they're talking about, the standard deviation, is 14 IQ points, so less than 1 standard deviation. And the other thing which is outrageous, by not communicating clearly what their mistake was, they allowed their conclusion to continue unchecked, if you like, in the minds of the readers. Their conclusion doesn't make sense when they say that it conflicts with the premise. Look at their conclusion. When they first said it, less than 1 IQ point, this is likely to be a measurement or statistical artifact of no functional significance. Then they change it to less than 1 standard deviation. That's right. But then they continue with the same conclusion, even though they've changed the premise of the sentence, is that this is likely to be a measurement or statistical artifact of no functional significance. Absolute nonsense. So here's the corrected version of their corrected version. They should have written, the claim shift of 7 IQ points suggests that this is likely to be a measurement or statistical artifact of no functional significance. Absolute nonsense, of course, as you've just seen. A drop of 5 IQ points is highly significant. Highly significant as far as functioning in a modern industrialized society. So changing the shift from less than 1 IQ point to 7 IQ points makes this conclusion preposterous. And here again is the graph. This is what they're saying has no functional significance. And of course, it's just not true. And again, this review by Gluckman and Skegg for many New Zealand journalists and editors and politicians was the final word in settling this issue of fluoride's neurotoxicity. On the individual level, the last children in society who need their IQ lowered are children from low-income families, who are precisely those being targeted for fluoridation. In other words, the children we are trying to help are going to be hurt most. A classic example of good intentions. I'm sure many of the people that supported the introduction of fluoridation had very good intentions, but clearly this has gone awry now that we know that children could lose IQ points. And again, the last children who need to lose IQ points are those being targeted by fluoridation.